Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA. This is from the desk of the Emissary. I am your host, Wall Smith Bay, broadcasting the War Report from a Black point of view. Today, we do have two co-hosts, but before we get to them, I'd like to tell you this too. We do not own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. And I would very much like for each of you viewers to go to our webpage, BNN247.org, and check in. Go to our YouTube page, BNN247, and subscribe to our page. Go to our Facebook page, BNN.247, and like us on Facebook. It don't cost you nothing. Please do so. But this is the Black News Network. Today we're talking about our Black families. And our Black families are in a crisis right now. There are so many variables to what is actually happening here. And because it's happening, we are producing and turning loose in the world kids that are not prepared for what they have to face when they go out in corporate America. It is so bad. They say that 64% of our children are being raised in single parent homes. And the average home or the average family where there's a man and a woman, they average 2.5 kids in the African American family. Those are some of the stats that we are going to review today, as well as other points of view, because we're going to bring on our co-host and a good friend of mine, Mr. Chuck Slaughter. We also have Mr. Claude Foster. So with these three gentlemen, myself included, of course, we are going to bring it today about the Black family matters in America. So, Mr. Chuck, would you like to start?
If you like. I thank you for allowing us to have a voice on your station.
I can't hear you, Chuck. Get in it, man. What you talking about?
Are you can hear me?
Yeah.
I gotta get warmed up first.
I want to give you
credit for. I want to give you credit for letting us have a voice on your news network.
Come on with it.
All right.
All right, my bad, Chuck.
Well, the Black families does matter. They do matter. They're the bedrock, the backbone of the Black culture, and we can't unify the Black culture unless we unify the Black family. And right now we have so many obstacles that we have to deal with in restructuring the Black family from all the destruction that has been delayed, been put up on us as a culture over the years. We have layers and layers of issues that has come to dismantle the Black family until we got it to a point right now to where our young people are not listening to their elders. They have no respect for the elders. The elders don't know what they're saying. I had a young man tell me once before, you old folks need to get out the way and look at the mess you left behind for us to clean up. And I felt, wow, you don't understand what your history. So our young people have a tendency to break away from the leadership of the elders and go out on their own. And then when they do that, it's like they're starting all over again with nothing as well. And they become a victim to this here brainwashing, you see. So this is a very good subject to talk about today. And I won't get off into too deep into it, and I'll let my friend Claude Foster bring us in on his views.
Turn your mic on, Mr. Clark.
Can hear
You
you.
still got a line drawn through your mic. While he's coming on, our Mr. Slaughter said something that really interests me. He said that we have suffered the destruction of the black family. And I believe him. I mean, that is exactly what I think is happening too. We are the original people of America, and we get the least respect from everybody. We have to fight for every bit of respect we want in our black culture, and especially in our black families. We want to be represented too. You still got a line in your mic, Claude. I don't. You might want to come back and because you got to get that line out before we can hear you. But the bottom line is the way we have to fight to establish our family is it's a downright shame when we are the original people, descendants of this land. This is our land. But we seem to get the least respect. People coming over here yesterday get more respect from America than we do, especially the white people. They are the ones who really give us the weight on our shoulders to be different or to be less than what we really are. Why do we have to prove that we are not less? Why our families have to suffer? I mean, on the plantation, our children could not eat without the mother sacrificing her body and without the dad sacrificing his body and his time. They would not get out of that circle. It's a circle of poverty that caused them to destroy the family unit. And then when they come off the plantation, the federal government steps in and starts to do the same thing to our families. How can a government of a bunch of criminals coming out of England and Britain come over here on our land and then tell us that our men can't be in our men's household? You ain't never said anything like that for white folks. Black folks have suffered at the hands of these people because of their laws, because of their enforcements, because of their focus on keeping us from being a successful group of people. If you look over America, you will see every successful black community destroyed. Every single one of them by white people. So it's almost like we damned if we do and we damned if we don't. Because if we do set up a community where we're successful, we got to put perimeters, the deacons of defense or some damn body around the perimeters to keep their asses out. Because they're going to come in and F it up and take it and destroy it and drop the bombs from airplanes on it like they did in Tulsa in 1924. They just celebrated over 100 years since that happened. Claude, log out, clock back in, and then maybe it'll come back. It'll be right. I'll bring you right back in when you come back.
Well,
But we, as a people, we have to understand. Chuck, don't let me do all the talking. You're welcome to
well,
jump
I,
in.
I was gonna break in there and tell you about
Okay.
something when you was talking about the communities and stuff like that. How the man's going to come into the community. All right, that's true, because I don't care how much money you're making. Okay, I watched this. There's a community called the Black Hamptons.
The
The
black what?
Hamptons, the Black Hamptons.
Spell
Okay,
that last word. Anthem.
Hamptons. HAM.
Hampton with an H.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hampton. The
Okay.
Black Hamptons. It's a community somewhere upstate, somewhere where all black community, the average income is a six-figure income. You know, and they're
Mm-hmm.
very rich people, powerful, and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And even they have to worry about their communities being overshadowed,
Is
gentrified.
that today or was that in the past?
Well, that's what they are projecting today. It's really come now. It is a community called that, but they portrayed it on TV as this happening to. It can happen to your community. I don't care how much money you got. There's always somebody with a little bit more money than you that's going to take over that. So yeah, there is a system that's designed to keep, you know, the descendants of slaves down. The descendants of slaves, not all black folks had this, came from descendants of slaves in this country, you know, but most of us did. So that's the design, and as I said it many times before, all the way back into slavery with the indoctrination of the Willie Lynch syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
The Willie Lynch, and it's just
But,
team
you
that
know,
they taught it to their offsprings so they could continue to practice it.
we got back in the 50s, black families were led by less than 9% of women. So they were head of households. I mean, raising their children. I was raised by a single mother, and I was born in 1959. So you can just about guess how old I am. By 1960, Chuck, this is only what 10 years from the 50 to the 60s. The percentage of women, black women, raising children in their homes, single black women jumped from 8%, less than 9%, to 21% in the 1960s.
Very important point. Let me hold you right there. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
in the 50s to the 60s. Okay, Larry Elder, a Republican presidential candidate, while he was running, he verified that in 1946, 47, the Department of Human Services was going out knocking on the doors of black families and letting them know that we can help you, but your man got to leave the house. So that's what we meant about. That's who ran the black man away from his family, and then our sisters come to depend on the federal government, and then they got labeled as welfare moms, degrading them. You see, so we have to deal with these issues, and that's just one example
Mm-hmm.
of how our government divided the black family. Started to attack the man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. And I got some article around here where it shows a outlay from the Atlantic Star, and it shows where in the around 1940s, the numbers say that black people out marriages was higher than those of white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, what happened was, at one point when it comes to the employment, okay, black men unemployment rate was at 4%, while the white unemployment rate for men was at 0. But it started growing, and about 10 or 15 years later, the white unemployment level was up to like 7%, and the black unemployment level was up to around 20-some percent. And that's when, all this stuff started happening with taking the man out the house so his family could be fed. You see.
Keep talking, Chuck. You got some good points.
Well, that's just how it happened.
The link again, just in case he needed.
And and then there's old saying that I think you might it might have something truth to it or something like this. They said,
Chuck, we've been as a black family. Can you picture this? A husband, his black wife, a black husband, black wife, black children, going out on a Saturday afternoon to go shopping. You go into a white-owned establishment to look at the merchandise. And then if the black man tries on a hat, he has to buy the hat. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. You got to buy that damn hat. If a black woman wanted to try on a dress, you had to buy it, whether you liked the way it fit or not. You had to buy it. That's why you see so many black people started making their own dresses, their own clothing, and they always had these boxes of patterns. Do you remember that, Chuck?
Yeah, my mother
had a shitload of patterns, and I'd always see her cutting out materials, and they made their own clothes because they didn't want to go to these damn shops and get embarrassed with some bullshit. So that was one of the things we've suffered in America. We've suffered humiliation, we've suffered embarrassment, we've suffered insults, we've suffered discrimination. We've been that way. It's been done to us since we've been here.
But let me share a couple of other things with you. I think that is relevant in the destruction of the family during our time. This welfare thing, it happened during our times. I can remember when the welfare agent, whatever, would come into the home, inspect the home, look for any signs that a man lived there, and if he found his shoes or
you actually had a white person come into your black home looking around. Is that what you just said?
They had the ability to do that because they were with the welfare. Mm-hmm. So, but if we move away from the welfare, and I think the next thing that they used to destroy the black family was the child abuse law. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, there's the difference between punishing a child and abusing a child. And nobody condones abusing a child. You see, and I've seen some.
Can we hear you, Clark?
Can you hear me now?
Hey! Yeah,
right.
I'm sorry, Chuck. Chuck was talking.
As a nurse, I've seen some horrible child abuse cases. But in our culture, we believe that if you spare the rod, you will spoil the child. And so they knew this, so they had to stop you from raising your child with good discipline. So the child abuse law come in and gave the child a 911 number to call if your parents put their hands on you, or if they do something you don't like. And they gave the child power over the parent. So a lot of parents withdrew, tried to punish the child. It didn't work.
You saying that the parents stopped disciplining the children? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Well, I got my ass whooped up until I was like 13, 14 years old. The last whooping I got was because I almost burnt the damn house down.
The child abuse law wasn't in effect at that time.
Huh?
The child abuse law wasn't in effect at that time in the 50s and 60s.
Did you come up getting beat, or were you spared the rod?
No, I had to go out and get one of those switches off the tree.
Go get your own damn troubles,
With
right?
your own damn tree. Switch.
Right,
It's
and look what
about
it developed.
But
Look what it developed.
So what now?
the black community was left alone. And when the black community was left alone, we did all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we would have been all right today. But I think once we got into this political stuff and this political thicket, and the government started taking control of more and more of our lives, I think we're suffering the results of that today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're at a position right now where everything revolves around the government. But when you look at the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the way this country was structured, the government is supposed to work for the people. But 100% right now, we work for the government. 100%. You know, if anytime you go get a paycheck and before you even see your paycheck, you done lost money from your labors, they pimping us.
I think one of the things that's over missed. I mean, when you look at it historically, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they let us out of slavery, they said we were free except for criminal, whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
When they ended segregation and let us out of our neighborhoods, they took control of our lives, and they've been on our neck ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And you can blame all the different causes, but at the core of those causes is just POD racism, institutional racism.
So
you can drive. Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Absolutely.
You can go to any street named Martin Luther King in any black community, and it's all the same.
Why do you think they named these streets Martin Luther King?
Well, as if they didn't already. I think it was just a modern way of knowing where the black folks are.
You're absolutely right. That is a marker for when white folks travel through our city, through our towns, when they see
they ain't got to look up no other street
on the street, huh?
They ain't got to look at Google Maps. All they need is one name.
Martin Luther King. Not to go there.
And they know not to go there. They know not to go
that
shop there.
No
they know not to go
economic value
there. They know not to go send their kids to school there. When they're buying property, they know not to buy property nowhere near there. And so the government, just like in slavery, the government still tries to control our life today. And just like they wasn't in our best interest, you talk about it, Chuck. You talk about I got that book here. You talk about the Willie Lynch letter.
Yeah. When you get that book,
you think that there's not a modern version of Willie Lynch?
But yeah, because the thing was, he taught the offspring of the oppressors how to practice over and over and regenerate itself. Yes, this is exactly what's happening.
Let me ask y'all a question. Why is it that when we know the truth, but we believe the lie? You know what I mean? We know the truth, but we believe the lie, because we know that you can look across the entire United States and the world, and you will not find a single iota of history that dictates this is why we got the Holy Bible. And how can Jesus walk the grounds in the Middle East and find Peter, Paul, James, and Luke these names? These people over there ain't named no damn Peter, Paul, Luke, and James. They're like, all that shit. They're not named like we're named. So how can we keep believing the lie, living the lie, because our ancestors taught us the lie? And if we don't change, our black family structure is gone. I mean, some of us are trying very hard to keep our family structures together.
Because Brother Smith Bay, we're trying to operate in a country that still doesn't recognize our humanity. We're trying to make it work. I mean, your whole thing about, do we want to be like what's the show?
Cosby Show.
I mean,
Cosby
within America's racist framework, do we want to be like the Cosby? Do we want to be like the pictures in Ebony magazine? Remember Ebony magazine, the way black folks were? Or are we the black folks along Dr. Martin Luther King Drive? And that's where the problem's at. Because the folks that want to be like the Bill Cosby show, they got the skin problem, but they don't have the money problem. Mm-hmm. When you got the skin problem and the money problem, you got problems in America.
Yes, that's the problem.
And so,
skin and money. That's what you said. That's
if you got the skin problem and the money problem.
You got the money. If you got the money, you can come over here and spend your money.
No, you ain't coming over there.
If you got the money,
you coming over there to spend it
on what?
Where
you want to if you got the money.
But coming over there to spend it on what?
No, I'm saying if you got the money, you can go and live wherever you want to. You see. And if you don't, you got to stay here where you can depend. You don't have to depend on somebody else.
Now you got to stay where the government has more of an influence over your life.
Yeah. You got to continue to depend on the government.
So it boils down. Go ahead, Chuck.
And the government's not going to give you a program that allow you to pull yourself up out of poverty.
No, because what the government's going to do, my brother, is tell you the problem. That you got some
Why can't you get out?
But you got the problem. You're not working hard enough. You got some kind of traits and you know, there's something about you, something about your blackness that's holding you.
Yeah. I probably, I worked as a nurse, in a female field dominated by white women. Okay. And if I didn't go around skinning and grinning in their face, if I tried to act like a gentleman or whatever, to them, and for some reason they got a certain feeling and they wanted to go and holler a sexual harassment.
Let me ask you a question. How does a black man act like a gentleman around white women?
That's a good damn question. I want to know the answer to that, Chuck.
How does a black man act like a gentleman anywhere he goes?
No, around white women.
Around white women.
I'm talking about a black man supposed to be a gentleman wherever he's at.
No, you made what did you do differently?
I didn't do nothing different. I didn't do nothing different other than be nice.
So you're not nice anyway?
He code switched. That's what he did.
I know you don't want to say. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but black people.
No, you ain't putting it on the spot. I'm a nice person.
But all of us have code switched at one time or another. So I ain't gonna tell no lie like I ain't never done it.
But I can honestly say this, my brother. I have been, pro-black. Whether I was in the military, whether I was out working for civil rights organization, whether I'm just talking, I have been that person. And so
that's never lost sight of your inner self.
Not yet.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. And I think I've suffered from it over my years because I've never lost sight of my inner self. And I've had to fight my way all the way through everything. And if you ain't got the drive and the fight, man, they're going to destroy our families. They're going to destroy our people. And the worst, one more point, the worst thing that ever happened to us was this integration bullshit because that took away the control of our children.
If anything, it's been the opposite. People say, well, why are you acting so black? You look at you, look at what you do. Look at your skin color. Look at your hair. Look at whatever. You're not supposed to be pro-black. You're supposed to
pull you into the white society and tell you you're not supposed to be that way.
And that's what Willie Lynch was all about.
Yeah.
But this is the modern day Willie Lynch too.
Trying to mold, but back to this, black, like the Nation of Islam had a black family day. We talk about Million Man March, but they also had a black family thing and they had an agenda for the black family. Mm-hmm. But we let the political folks, Daniel Patrick Moynihan,
I don't mean to cut you off, Claude, but we got to now. Let's look at some positives on how do we reconnect our Black family. What can we do to bring it back together? And that what you just said, what they did at the Million Man March, they had a family section where they had an agenda, they had things for the family to do. So what is it our families can do? And I know Chuck uh, takes care of his grandkids a lot, and he does a lot of things with them. The other day, I couldn't even talk to him because he had damn McDonald's somewhere in the play yard trying to get on the damn slide.
Well,
I guess. Go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
I think what we can do, we got to start with the young Black boy and raising him to be a masculine man. Okay, we got to start developing raising these young boys to prepare them to become the head of a household. Okay, we got to again show them the importance of getting a good quality education, not to get a job, but to have a career. And then we got to show them the importance of being able to take care of the household while the mother takes care of the children in the inside of the home. See, we got to re-identify our roles in the family. That's why I say reconstruct the family. We got to identify our roles in the family and stick to them. The woman is not supposed to be the provider. Okay, I know they said the world has changed. Now the world didn't change. People change.
Well, maybe one of y'all can tell me who coined
world.
Where did the phrase "baby daddy" come from?
Baby daddy?
You know, baby daddy instead of husband and father.
Maury Povich.
Maury Povich, that's a good one. I like that. Maury Povich. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You ain't the daddy.
Yes, you sure
So
right.
that's where that came from, baby daddy?
Yeah, Maury Povich. Because they used to have him come on there and talk about all the affairs and shit. They used to get paid to do that shit, man.
So Chuck, I wrote down a few points. You said we got to re-identify our roles in the family, which is very, very important. We got to understand that our young boys have to be trained in order they can become head of households, and they need to be focused on getting a career and not just a job. That's some of the three main points I got out of your conversation just then. So let's see what Claude said with improving or putting our family structure back together.
I think one of the things that we got to do, I think we got to value marriage as an institution in our communities again. I think the whole institution of marriage has been corrupted. And the reason why I ask about the baby daddy is you have women now that before they got 3 different kids or 4 different kids from 4 different men. So I think we gotta refocus on that institution of marriage. And I think that will solve some of the other problems that we currently experience. Because let's face it, I mean, a single mom can't raise, well, they do, but I guess they can't do it in a substantive way. Black boys.
Your mom ain't raising children. Single mothers are not raising
Barack
children.
Obama spoke about that. You know, he's
great grandparents are raising the children.
He's got his program out. So I think putting more emphasis on the institution of marriage. I think that's where it sprouts out from.
Okay. So let me rephrase what do you call it? I'm gonna go back over what I thought you said. We got to value marriage because right now our marital system is corrupt. Chuck,
can I make a point? Yeah. Huh? I just want to make a point about the marriage thing because that was the other part of my process of reorganizing the family. During the childbearing years, like I say, the husband got to prepare himself to be the head of the household. So he got to be able to carry the household, especially by himself during the childbearing years.
I wish we had a woman on here because men always talk about what the women need to do.
Yeah, that's right. So during those childbearing years, this is where the education of the children takes place, not through daycare centers, but
what
at
are
home.
The childbearing years?
Yeah,
during the time when those children are at home being prepared to go out into the public.
Give me some ages. Do you have any ages on the childbearing years?
From 1 to 6.
No, the childbearing years. The woman.
Huh?
The childbearing years of the woman.
Oh, well, that's another thing we don't do. We don't plan the family.
So you don't know the childbearing years.
For a woman could be anywhere. The childbearing years for a woman. I'm talking about to build a family. I'm talking about to build a family. So when you get married, this is where the childbearing years start for the family. You have this first child. That means you got to be home with that child until that child goes to school. Gets into the school system. Now if you got 3 children or 2, you don't go out. You have to stay in the home until they're in the school. Then you can go out and start your career to add gravy to it, not to steal. That man is responsible for taking care of that family.
But it's kind of ironic. We pay a heavy price for integration. Like when I don't know whether any of you go pick up your kids from school, especially in some of these middle class enclaves. You see white women there to pick up their kids. You don't see black women there.
Absolutely.
Right on the block.
Right. They are working.
50, 100 cars out there in line to pick up their children.
Yeah. It's back to this social.
I still want to reiterate what you just said, Claude. Value marriage, because marriage system is corrupt in our communities right now. We got the baby daddy, and with a mother having 3 different daddies with three kids. Then we got the institution of marriage. We need to re-identify the institution of marriage. I think that's very important too. When we got 3 different, I think I gotta say this, Chuck, give me a second. When we talk about these 3 different daddies, women look at that a whole lot different than us, and they look at it from the economic standpoint, because she's going to get child support from each kid. That's 3 checks coming in to that woman's family. That is what the problem is. They've seen the money value of getting pregnant by somebody that's making a lot of money, and then having that man pay child support, basically.
But that doesn't make. But
that has no intentions on staying with that man.
Let me ask you.
Got intentions of getting a baby with a rich man, so he can pay child support.
But that doesn't explain the 3 baby daddies. If she get pregnant by a rich man, why do you need 3 baby? Why do you need?
Well, that's the point. The more rich people you can get pregnant by, the more checks you got coming in. That's the objective.
They ain't getting pregnant by no rich people.
No, but they think the people are rich. We can play that game. We can go out there and act rich and act like we got money rolling out our ass and shit.
But let's not put it all on the women.
Pregnant and can't pay child support.
Let's not put it all on the women, because there are a lot of men going out there getting babies by 3 or 4 different women.
So you saying the men got to make sure he don't get a woman pregnant?
Yeah. He better take some responsibility.
Well, men should be free to do what they want to do. The woman got to make sure she don't get pregnant.
And you better protect yourself from them 25 years of responsibility for raising a child. If you bring a child into the world,
that's responsibility, Chuck.
No, okay, that's the problem.
What's the problem?
You got to have a formula that works. You see, now if this man can't control himself, live his life,
it in everything he gets into.
I ain't saying don't bring in
everywhere.
Children. Huh?
leaving babies everywhere.
Well, women say that with pride, Chuck. Women say with pride, I got 3 baby daddies or 4 baby
I
daddies.
know they've been
They know they're getting them checks
getting that money
from the
And
government.
not only, you know,
from the government and from the daddies. They getting it from both ends.
they
So these
doing what
women,
their mothers,
it's
they
more
doing what their
beneficial to
mothers
be
told them
single.
to do.
It's more beneficial to be a single mom.
And they're doing what their mothers told them to do. Taking for everything he got.
I know people right now that's been the Willie Lynch.
I love
That's
it. I got mine over
been
here.
in public housing for over 40 years. And the children are in public housing over 30 years. And their children are in public housing for over 20 years. Generation after generation after generation of people staying in poverty because they don't want to come out. They don't want to get that husband. They don't want to be independently functioning in a community.
And yeah, so how do you look at the institutions that are around that dichotomy? I mean, these people are in church every Sunday. Mm-hmm. They go to church. Mm-hmm. So they're not shielded from the institutions that should be valuing the very thing that we're talking about. So have the church become more acceptable? Have society?
I think the churches want single women to come into their churches because 98% of the churches got men pastors, and the men pastors have not yet committed themselves fully to God. They play the role, and they want single women, even though they may be married, but they want single women in their churches. And they put these single women in these different roles in the church so they can have access to them. Now, that ain't all over every church, but that's a lot of church. And bottom line is, the churches are full of hoes. I'm just going to put it out there. That is what the problem is. Single women looking to find somebody in their church.
I will say that I went to church with my wife a couple of weeks ago, and I was shocked at the ratio of women to men in that church. It's a mega church. It was like 90-1.
No.
Yes. Women in the church. Women with babies. Women by themselves. Women with kids by themselves. No men.
That is the problem. I think the women are getting all their instructions from the church instead of listening to their man. That's the problem. That is the problem.
I was in church today, and I was really shocked that the pastor's wife, when she wore to church today. And,
what was the ratio? What was the ratio of women to men at the church that you went to today?
Well, the women did outnumber the men. They always do.
Why is that?
What the ratio was?
Are the black men in prison?
But this chick she had the whole, one of those one strap dresses you wear with all this here showing out, real short. I said, that's the pastor's wife.
Top of her breast.
Yeah, they wear them dresses with a one strap on this shoulder and nothing on this shoulder, And that's the pastor's wife. They was below, just a little bit above her knees. I said,
So men men started to hesitate to tell their wives what they should do and what they shouldn't do. So that pastor allowed his wife to come out the house looking like that.
So when did we advocate that responsibility? I mean, you grew up and I'm sure in a normal house.
Well, it happened.
Yeah, right, man was the head of the household.
It happened right after the mother. Remember the motherboard? You remember we had a motherboard in our church, and once those old women started to die, these younger women started to come in and try and take control of the church. And in my hometown, they did. They took control of the church. No man runs the church. Only the pastor comes in and does his preaching. I don't even see a whole lot of deacons anymore. The churches I see, there's only one man in the pulpit, and that's the preacher. And
you're right. That's the way it was today.
Fucking up our community with that one man in the pulpit. If we had it like it was when we grew up, where there was a preacher, there was a deacon board, there was a mother board, there was all these different elements that made the church function the right way. And now we don't have that. Tell me, does your church have a mother board, Chuck?
No, not to my knowledge. No.
It disappeared. When all these things disappeared, our families disappeared with it. That's what happened. Nobody regulating nothing. And women right now can do better by themselves rather than marrying. But the bottom line is they don't want to do the right thing. Even though you may lose money by being married and having a daddy in the house with your children and they're his children, you might figure you're losing money that way, but you're not. Women, to me, sacrifice their children for money.
Right.
And then they produce these naughty head kids that don't pay attention and don't want to learn, and they don't want a man to tell their children what to do. Just a case in point, this mother found a gun in her 13-year-old son's room. So she calls the daddy, who is not part of the family anymore, to come over and talk to his son about having that gun in his room. Because the mother got the gun and gave it to the boy's daddy. So the boy's daddy come over and just start talking to the son, telling them the consequences of having that gun. And the boy said, what the hell ever, I don't give a damn. And the man grabbed the boy in the collar and slammed him up against the car. And the mother got on the husband, said, don't do my son like that. Get him, you bleed now. I didn't call you over here to beat him up. You know, she ran the daddy out because he's there trying to put some discipline in that boy. She doesn't get it. She didn't get it. And it caused, to me, that is the problem. They are not allowing us to control these kids or us to participate in the control of these kids. Because if we were participating and we were actively understanding what our roles are, those children would be turning out a lot better than they are. We're producing monsters right now, and they hit the street.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't have a skill. They can't damn change the oil in a car. They can't change a flat tire. They don't know how to dress. They got their pants off their ass. I mean, I could name 55 things that these kids have right now. I even see mothers walking into stores and their son got the freaking pants below their ass, and the mother ain't said nothing. I almost said something to a boy when he was with his mother about his pants, but I held my tongue. But I really wanted to tell that boy, pull your damn pants up. And the mother didn't say shit to him. She just didn't there with him.
But you know, brother, I think social media done let that genie out of the bag. I don't know whether we can put that genie back, because social media is the Willie Lynch letter on steroids.
Mm.
And it's
that and BET and VH1.
BET Awards. Did y'all see the BET Award?
Yeah.
Nothing but bump, booty shaking and ass banging. Drop it like it's hot. Doing the whole show, even Beyonce. And beyond, from what I've seen, Beyonce was out there with no drawers on. And you could see. You know.
And where do you see that at? What do you see? You don't see that in the white community.
Right. There you go. But who
do you think produced the BET Award?
Who owns BET?
Who produced the BET Awards? White
Sony.
White folks took the rap industry, just like you remember Cadillac Records when what is his name, Howlin' Wolf, all the other artists that fell under this one white guy because he was promoting them. He had the money to produce the records and make them artists, famous artists. The same thing happened with the rap culture. A white rich man figured out that these guys got something going. So they pulled these rappers in. You've seen it with Ice Cube and all these other Eazy-E when they were coming up. The white man pulls them in and wanted to lead the group, lead all of them into the riches. And he did, but he made him damn self rich too. But and then the lyrics in the songs were dictated by the white owners. So they're the ones who told the rappers, put something out there with some bitches and hoes on it.
Yeah.
Put something out there with some weed and
we're gonna give you $1 million. We're gonna make you $1 million.
And they did it.
Well, look
and
at
the
that.
public went wild.
Look at that prom they had somewhere in Florida where the black kids they went out and rented fancy cars and tuxes. I mean, it was just indulgence to the
Just wasted money.
thousandth degree. But after that night was over, they got to go back to the real world.
Broke. And then pay off that debt for the next 3 years.
Whatever it took to rent those cars and all the accoutrements that went along with it. I just think that, from a history standpoint, and Chuck, this is more than just about the Willie Lynch letter. This is about the whole process, not just the Willie Lynch letter.
Whole process.
What?
The whole process
of branding those slaves.
How you orient a person to be what you want them to be, not who they are.
And then
in our last few minutes, I want to look at the age groups and what they should know in these age groups. So a child, like Chuck was saying a few minutes ago, when a child comes to kindergarten, they should what? What were you saying, Chuck?
No, when they go to the first grade.
Okay, so when they go to first grade,
they shouldn't even mess around. Well, kindergarten, but the first grade, when they go into first grade, they should be on either the second or third grade level in reading, spelling, counting, knowing their colors, all the stuff that they teach them in the daycare center. You see, my little 5-year-old grandson right now, he can count up to about 100 to 200. He can read his name, he can write his name, because we're working with him at home. Before my daughter died, she was really into teaching him, and now Devin's girlfriend is teaching him as well, and he is smart. He got a vocabulary that's I recognize him 5 years old. 5.
He's 5. Okay, and he can do all that. So by 5 years old, you should be able to identify your alphabets, write your name, know your numbers to at least 100, and have at least 50 to 75 words in your vocabulary.
He looked at me one day, he said, Papa, stay focused. I said, what are you talking about, Willis?
All right, so we got that. Up to the first grade, these are the things you should know. So from the first grade to the 4th grade, what should you know as a child growing? You already got that basic foundation that you needed from your home to kindergarten to the 1st grade. Now you're in public school from the 1st to the 4th grade. You're exposed to 100 different things, all these different characters, different instruction from different people. So now, what is it you need to know?
I think in terms of exposure, I think you should be a child should have some type of male modeling in their lives. Some type of male role model or a male buddy, or
1 to 4.
From the age you just mentioned. I think that should be. It doesn't have to be a daddy, but I think that there should be some male in that child's life.
So, go ahead, Chuck.
From 1 to 4. You mean from the 1st grade to the 4th grade?
Yes.
Okay, 1st grade to the 4th grade. What should they know?
Yeah.
What should they know?
Yeah. What should they know?
I'm thinking that what the teacher should know, that he knows, she knows. The teacher should know, and then build on that. If her curriculum is for beginners, but you can tell that this child is advanced, So that's why they place them into
You
a
gotta
grade
put them where they are, where they can
where they're supposed to
succeed.
be. You know,
They'll
so,
lose focus if you leave them where they are when they're advanced children.
right. So you got to
So
build on what they already got. That's why I think a pre-testing of a child, a placement test should
every grade.
No, just at the beginning.
You think those tests are designed for us, Chuck? They're not designed for us. They're designed for white folks. They have no consideration of us when they made those tests.
Chuck, they test us every year after a certain grade, and yet the ACT scores at about 700-point gap between black performance and white kids' performance.
Those tests
white kids are getting 1,200 on the ACT. Black kids are getting 700, 800, 850.
Mm-hmm. And now that's going to put them out because they're not going to get no scholarships with that because affirmative action is not in anymore.
So they're not getting it. Black children, there's something missing in public education. Because
Chuck says the male. I say from first grade to fourth grade, now the child is, like I said a minute ago, he's receiving that exposure. He has to get socialization skills from 1 to 4. He got to understand how to have a conversation with other people. He got to understand how to show respect to authority. And, I think that's so important because if they don't learn at that young, tender age how to show respect to adults, how to honor your parents, how to believe in your grandparents from first grade to the fourth grade, that is where that is locked into their cranium, where they never forget how to be towards this.
That would back it up even further and say it starts in the womb.
Thank you.
The nutrition, the quality of that child's environment. Are they getting
right?
Does that family
have mother pregnant and going up fighting? Sorry to interrupt.
I mean, pregnant in terms of the health management, in terms of the environment, it all goes back to economics. That's because otherwise you're saying that somehow African Americans are just there's something to explain that gap.
Why do more black women die from childbirth than any other race in this country?
Well, I think it's because I don't think that they get the same quality. They may go to the same doctor, but I don't think they get the same quality of care.
It's not designed for us.
Right.
They think black women can take pain. They think they can take all the pain. They don't give them the same focus that they give to the white woman. So you have to tell them what your focus is.
And that's regardless of income too, brother. That's regardless of income.
You ain't got no money, you get less than a minute with a doctor.
1519 Project, a doctor, she died, but she tells the same thing. She was a doctor, a black doctor, and didn't get quality care that led to her death. Read the 1619 Project.
But I want to touch back on what you was talking about, Warren.
I think it starts there. I think it's the environment that our kids come in. I think the communities that our kids live in, the hazard environment, the hazardous air we breathe. I think all that affects your learning. The kind of homes a person lived in, if there's asbestos in the home, and until we deal with that inequality, how can you have inequality in life and expect equality in education? It ain't gonna happen. How can you bring a child into a school environment and you say, okay, now you're gonna compete with Jimmy over there? When your life been unequal from the time you were born up until the time you come into the first grade, how you gonna compete with someone whose experience has been totally different? So until we deal with this inequality in our communities, and I don't see either party addressing it because it ain't changing. Mm-hmm. And so you can't bring a child into school and say, now you're going to compete with that kind of disadvantage.
And that child is hungry.
Or is in fact been breathing asbestos all over his life.
Ringworms.
And ringworms and in an environment where you got...
It's sad, man.
Hazardous.
True. Chuck, you were about to say something too.
And every community that's got a Martin Luther King drive, they got a name, Martin Luther King in their name.
Even my little town, we got 900 people.
Got those
900 people, and we got a Martin Luther King drive.
And I don't hear. We talk about the infrastructure bill. Have you seen the infrastructure address Martin Luther King's anywhere?
I got a pothole on my street where I grew up at. Been there for like 50 years. The same damn pothole. They drive around it. Now they on the grass.
We talk about how well I don't want to jump on Chuck. We talk about how good this white man is over this white man. Neither one of them give a shit about the black people and about that inequality in education. They're gonna tell us it's our fault.
We run around talking about this white man better than that white man.
That's this guy. That's the Willie Lynch, Chuck.
Yeah, they ready to fight you over one white man over the other.
We talked about that. We fight over these two different parties as if they're different. It's the same
like
people.
The damn Crips and the Bloods.
It's the same people they was talking about in Willie Lynch. Mm-hmm. The motherfuckers that wrote the Constitution. Mm-hmm. What are these people?
Yep.
And until we understand that, and until we demand our stake at the table, not later in life, from either party, we're never going to get it because we can always take advantage of it.
You remember, Claude, every time we have a meeting, it always comes back to home. Just what you just said, until we demand our seat at the table. We are not going to get any recognition.
And remember, your homegirl said it. We didn't come here for no 2 seats.
Mm-hmm. As we are right now, we are not going to get any recognition.
Ain't nobody.
The bottom line is, we have to do something. And Abraham Lincoln said it, man, in his presidential will. And they call it the executive will. And what he said is, the black people that were former slaves will have to do something in order to improve their status in this country. And that what we have to do is that one simple thing.
What's that, brother?
Take the oath of amnesty and become a true citizen with a nationality.
And start
Our people do not have a nationality right now. If we did that, we would not be black. We would not be African American. What we would be is an American. That's the bottom line. We are not citizens. We don't have a nationality, and they can treat us any damn way they want to until we do something.
And we got to stop letting these white institutions and white folks tell us what's wrong with us.
I know.
What's wrong with us.
It's all about the paper.
It's always,
understand. If we don't understand the paper trail, we ain't never gonna get nowhere.
It ain't about the industries in the black community. It ain't about the quality of the air we breathe. It ain't about the quality of health care that we get. It's something we doing. It's our behavior. It's the way we act. It's the fact that we don't pull our pants up. It's some trait that we got, some race trait that we got that keeping us down. It ain't they doing nothing.
It's been,
and we don't demand nothing. We don't demand either part.
If you beat a dog all his life, and then you beat the puppies all their lives, and they grow up to be dogs, they're gonna have a fear. If you start beating that puppy while it's a puppy, and that puppy grow up to be a dog, and that dog see you come around, that dog is gonna look at the ground, is gonna lay on the ground and surrender to you. Yeah. Because you have instilled in that dog that you don't qualify as an equal.
And maybe the answer is what Brother Bay talked about. Maybe we gotta believe that we are. I don't think that we understand.
You know what? Then you're gonna be an uppity nigga.
Well, that's okay.
Have you been called that? I have.
Yeah, I've been called that.
Chuck?
I'm sure Chuck, you've been called that.
I've been called an uppity nigga.
And maybe that is that. Maybe that'll give us a new way of thinking and a new way of depending on ourselves instead of depending on others.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, drive down. This is 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King Drive looks like it did in 1964, in 1954, in 1924.
We ain't changed a bit.
Except now you got white folks in the community.
In 1910 now, the Emancipation Proclamation says we were supposed to receive our property back, reunite with our families, and the federal government of the United States was supposed to do it. That's what Abraham Lincoln wrote, because he gave them 50 years to transition us from slavery to full citizens in America.
And what happened? They killed them, didn't they?
They put it in the damn closet. It's still written. If we forced them to pull it out,
killed the man that was supposed to implement it.
We got some smart ass people. We got some very smart people here in America. I mean, why have no lawyers, no doctors, no philanthropists put their money together and sued the federal government to bring out that executive will to give us our due? We got so many rich people, so many smart people, so much money in these people's hands. You can't tell me there ain't a lawyer that can put this shit together and take us through it and do it for the people. I think the problem is they are scared. They're punk ass lawyers, and they want to just get what they can get for themselves and fuck everybody else. That's what it's about. Because we got the people, we got the knowledge, we got the know-how to bring our people out of poverty.
Because we're in a country, man, where words can be used so manipulative. We went from black rights to civil rights, and we hadn't been thought of since.
Now we have gay rights.
Well, that's part of civil rights. That's the evolution of it, and we get further and further behind. And that
was another point where there wasn't the government, but where a movement in society. You know, we were talking about civil rights. That's another area where, when the feminist movement started, and
but when did civil rights replace black rights? When did that take place?
I don't remember black rights. The whole
Constitution. I mean, the whole Civil War, all the amendments and stuff. That was about black rights. When did it become civil rights?
Well, I guess when they started the civil rights movement.
I mean, who started it?
All right, tell me the history between 1910 and 1960. Tell me something that we did significantly, black history.
Wasn't the Red Summer somewhere in one of those years?
Hmm?
Wasn't the Red Summer, all that massacre? Wasn't that when all the black towns got?
Yeah. Everything black people did from 1910 to 1960 got destroyed. Everything.
But that was part of that Red Summer, yeah.
No history. Our history began after the Civil War, to let them tell it. That's the problem. We don't have a history past the Civil War, 1865. Why is it that nobody know anything prior to 1865 when we were here in the 1400s, 1300s? We don't know that. The Black Seminoles have occupied an entire region of Mexico, an entire region. And they celebrate Juneteenth in Mexico. They celebrated, and they got cities of black folks, just like Brazil. And you go on down to other Spanish-speaking cities on the southern peninsula of this country. They are black, but the blacks here, we're the most northern black. Well, Canada is. We're almost the most northern blacks there are, and we got no respect. And we own this damn place. But I want to say something one more time. We went from 1 to 4. We talked about that. From 5th grade to what? 5th grade to 7th grade, or 5th grade to 9th grade?
Well, I want to say one thing about that 1 to 4. The things that you laid out there about the conduct and stuff like this. All those things were the things that should be taking place at home.
Mm-hmm.
1 to 4 years old, should be teaching them the things they need to progress along the line of getting educated.
Mm-hmm.
All that conduct and mannerism and stuff like that comes from home.
What about
Now,
socialization though?
huh?
Being around other people, being around other kids, and
Socialization, that's important. And the kids that you control that too, because the kids that they play with when they're growing up in the community, you know them, you know their parents know you, and they know your children. That they got the kids in the community where they learn how to.
We move a lot, Chuck. We move a lot.
Relocate. You gotta make new friends.
The Hustable family portrait, they do all that. I mean, the Black American Hustable families. They got the kids.
You talking about the Cosby Show?
Yeah, the Hustles.
They do what?
They do this everything that we're talking about. They do the socialization. They do the extracurricular. I went to an event, and the pastor had everybody, all the black kids stand up. They had a passport. Every black kid in there had a passport. Really? Every black kid in there. This was at a Jack and Jill event, the Hustable. Now go to
Jack and Jill event. What is that?
Jack and Jill. The Jack and Jill. It's founded in Philadelphia. It's a group of black women, and they got together back in the day. It's just like in all these other black social organizations.
Do we have a Humpty Dumpty?
Jack and Jill of America is an organization of mothers dedicated to raising the next generation of African American leaders, enhancing the lives of our children.
Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill.
And it's Friday.
And these were Jack and Jill kids. Every one of them, like I say, the Huxtable families.
How do we find out more information on Jack and Jill?
Just type it in
Google it.
Google it. Jack and Jill of America. And the reason why it was founded, and then you understand the history of why it was also founded in Philadelphia.
Did you said you attended an event there?
Well, my daughter's a Jack and Jill team. My wife is real active in that because of my daughter.
Okay.
And they had their convention in Houston. The regional convention consisted of 5 states. They spent $999,000 in 2 days. With the registration, the registration for each parent was like $800 or $900. So they spent $1 million in 2 days, in that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Texas, Louisiana.
These all black folks?
These are all black folks. Jack and Jill, it's all black folks. So
beautiful.
There's a Huxtable, there's the Huxtables out there. And I'm sure the Alphas and all these other organizations spend. I guess you brought up the Huxtable. I'm saying that there are black people out there that fit that category. I mean, you got rich black neighborhoods like in Maryland, Chevy Chase, Maryland. Black folks living large. So we do have success in this country, but the majority of African Americans live in areas called Martin Luther King Drive. And they don't have that access. And they don't have that opportunity. And they don't have
we want to flow on into 4, 5 to 9 year old. What should they know? I mean, I don't mean we need to dictate what they should know, but what do we think they normally should know from the ages 5 to 9?
I think they should know. I think they should know. Well, one thing I think they should have a library card.
Beautiful. Library card.
They should have a library card.
I think that, go ahead.
And they should have, I think they should, someone should have exposed them to a library by that age and know how to use a library by that age.
I think they should be determining their character as they grow, and in order to do that, they're gonna go they're gonna like working with their hands, or they're gonna like working with their brains. So you have to pay so much attention to them to find out what they really like doing.
Why do you think they took carpentry and all those programs? Like when I was growing up in black high school, we had those automotive. Why do you think they took that out of school?
We were taking the class,
Too successful.
and we were coming out with journeyman's licenses.
Yeah.
And they didn't want us to be that successful. See, public school is there to train you to work in corporate America.
But the argument I used to hear was the fact that those schools that the kids wasn't getting a what do you call the kind of education where you have to think rather than using your hands. That was the.
Mm-hmm.
That was the.
But do you think a kid that's good with his hands should be made to go to college?
Critical thinking skills. Black folks used to complain that minority schools wasn't giving kids those critical thinking skills, and so because I built the first unit shelf, and if you went to my house before it was destroyed by the storm where I was raised, still in that living room was that shelf unit that I built in high school. Still there. That's the pride they had in that project.
I built two things. I built a napkin holder with salt and pepper. I built that. And then I built the jury box with velvet lining inside.
I challenge you to go to any black family today and find that process or that.
No, these kids are not having the opportunity to use their hands now. But if you don't determine what that kid is good at between the ages of 5 and or grade 5 and 9th grade, then you're really not setting them up for anything. They're just gonna go out and they're gonna be nobody. They're not gonna know what to do because they didn't get the skill set that they needed to get in the grade range that's designed for them to get it. So from 9 to 12, from 10th grade to 12th grade, the child should be refining their skills. And if they're academic, I mean, they need to be reading books like for the police.
Your grandson, y'all doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to jump back in there. On one of the things you all are looking at the education, but I'm looking at the conduct problem that we have through the school. So starting around the 4th grade, Saving Our Sons. This is a program that we're talking about, trying to get off the ground, Save Our Sons.
Right.
Starting around the 4th grade, you need to start educating them and counseling them and talking to them about what they're going to face when they get into peer pressure that they're going to face when they get into junior high school, because that's where they start losing their focus. When they get in there and get in fights and the peer pressure and the people talking crazy to them and stuff like that. So we got to prepare them to do that. And then they get in, we get them through junior high school, then we got to prepare them for high school. You know, we got as a men's organization with the problem we have today, we got to come in there and start seeing how many of these young men can we take from here to here. And we also, you know, it's nothing wrong. There's a lot of jobs that you can prepare these young men for that they can do with their hands and knowledge and stuff, you know. We can start making scholarships from the school to plumbing school to chef school, whatever. There's other professionals they can go out there and do and eventually become self-employed in those areas.
I think
you know, so this is a process of Saving Our Sons. Takes them through and get them through those rough areas of adolescence, that growth and stuff, you know, because the hormones start popping and going all crazy. I was going with it.
The hormones are going out of control.
We got to show them how to maintain those hormones.
And we got to stop being afraid of our young boys.
Our children.
Yeah. That's why we go in there. And
I used to go to MLK Elementary School right here in San Antonio, And I'd always go to the problem kid room because they'd take them out to class and send them to the basement.
Yeah.
Right. The room down there. And I'd go in there, and those kids are just sitting there playing with their phones, sleeping.
Yep.
And then they have a teacher in there that don't give a damn about them. They just do what the hell they want till time to go home, and the school get credit for them being at school.
Yep.
So they have wasted all these children by sending them to those rooms rather than rehabilitating those children. If you got an alcohol problem, you go to AA. If you got a drug problem, you go to rehab. You know.
But what did that say about that teacher that was sitting in there and letting the kids just?
He's there
about him or her?
He's there for the check, and that's what he was the one. He's sitting on his ass, and I'm the one walking around talking to the damn kids.
Because I had an experience like that where I went to a school to speak, and I told all the kids to take out a pen, a pencil, and a piece of paper. They didn't have neither pen, paper, or pencil.
Why does it cost $500 or more to send a kid to public school? You have to buy all this stuff for them to go to school. That's a lot of shit that these poor parents have to come up with to get their children into school.
And I think too, brothers, the teachers don't live in the communities.
Yeah.
They're educated.
They're not role models, and they don't nurture.
But they don't live there.
Teachers need to, I don't care where they live, they should always be able to nurture a child.
They should be.
Nurture is how
they over nurture. We need to get the men in the schools. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
You talking about some damn nurturing.
No, that's serious. Some men is in the schools. They are.
Well, it ain't enough. Because if it was enough, you wouldn't need the damn security resource. But
you gotta understand, education
parents need to go to school.
Is a woman's era. Education is a woman's field. We educate them. In the home, they educate them. In the school, they educate them. Yes, a man can be involved, but
it
the
ain't just a woman's field.
Men are not nurturers. We're disciplinary.
Are you saying that men shouldn't be teachers?
Yeah, I think they should be teachers, but I think they should be teachers, but not as dependent on them to be nurturers.
If these children see men in the school, they would straighten up
because he's a disciplinarian, not because he's a nurturer.
In Africa, they kill the elephants for the tusks, right? So in one region, they kill all the bull elephants for the tusk. These poachers did. So now you got 100, 200 adolescent elephants. These adolescent elephants was tearing up every damn thing. They were running through villages, killing crops. They were eating the farmers' food. They were doing every damn thing mischievous that they could find. So the country brought in 20 bull elephants and released them in that area.
I saw that, yeah.
All of the turmoil, the farming, they stopped everything that they were doing that they shouldn't have been doing. Yeah, so my point is, when you have the absence of us, kids think they are us. We got to be there for them to get in control. And I think parents today don't even know what school, what class they're in, what school they're in, who the teachers are. Parents don't even go to PTA meetings. They don't go to parent-teacher, introduce the teacher to the parent class or day, whatever they call it.
Or the school board meetings.
Or the school board.
And it's tougher today because of social media, because kids are exposed to so much. It's hard to pull them back, to rein them in, to have a standard, because we see so much.
The thing they've done is close down, put your cell phone in a locker. You can't use it in the classroom. That's the best thing I think it has ever happened. But all right, brothers, we're getting ready to close. So if you got some final remarks, go ahead and put them out there.
Go ahead, Chuck. I'll let you close us out.
No, I started. You finish it.
No, go
You
ahead.
start. You start this one.
Oh no, I'm just saying that it doesn't matter what subject we talk about, whether it's education, whether it's economics. The root causes of it is the history and racism in this country. It's the root. And I tend to agree with Brother Bay. I think that we gotta start a new beginning. And we gotta elevate ourselves from there. Because as long as we've never had a new start. We let the people that enslaved us define us, institutionalize us, politically, socially, and so I don't think that we've been so indoctrinated that I don't think that we can ever be together. We've been trying since the 70s, since the 60s. The last big African American conference was held in Annapolis. It didn't go anywhere because we're too divisive. Because the so-called founders, the masters, made us hate ourselves, distrust ourselves, not honor ourselves. So I'm willing to go out for the future generations that we talk about. I'm willing to go all the way back to the beginning. Because I think that's the only way we can fix this. Because before you can do anything, before you can build a house, you gotta have a firm foundation. You can't build a house on stilts and expect it to hold the family structure together, to hold this structure, hold that structure, kids. You can't do it. So this is Brother Bay's suggestion. It sounds different because it is different.
What suggestion?
That we go back to our roots and start over and build a foundation from that root system.
Oh.
And it's gonna take years.
And it's gonna take.
If we don't ever start, we ain't never gonna get it done.
We're never gonna get it. We
gotta start.
This is 2024. We're still talking about what was done to us in
long time ago. We got to start this movement, y'all.
Because we haven't fixed it.
We got to start a movement.
And like I keep saying about this show, if we don't give the people something new to latch on to, they're gonna tune us out and they can watch any show. That's where we're different.
The information that we put out here.
And so,
Chuck.
Yeah, well, I agree with everything you're saying. It's absolutely true. And it's nothing new to me. And I've been saying this for quite some time. We got to start a new wave of wealth building in America with a bubble up economy, building the foundation for it to rise up on. This is nothing new to me. That is why I started the African American Capital Reserve Fund, to help Black families go into family-owned businesses to support themselves. We don't know what it's going to be like after 2024. With everything that's going on in the political world right now, I don't know what it's going to be like. But how are we going to survive, if Donald Trump wins the election? How will we survive in America? Okay, that's a concern for me as a poor man. It's a very serious concern to me. We're in the burning house ourselves. How do we get out of it? So we got to find a way for help ourselves come up out of this burning house, and I think we can do it. We got too many. There's too many. When I think about the one thing I think about when I think about Willie Lynch, the message that you get out of that is that we got to make the Black man love us more than he loves himself, because we need them to need us. We need the Black people to need us. Well, I think Black people need poor blacks to need them. You see, so that would support their wealth, their well-being. And what gets me is they're not reinvesting back into the culture to help us pull ourselves up when they can, if they want to. But even their mind has been conditioned. You don't have to help them. You worked hard to get to where you are. You forget about them. Go ahead and live your life. Enjoy. Spend your money with me. So until we realize that we cannot leave no black person behind, not the drunk, not the drug addict, any black person want to have an opportunity to pull themselves up, we need to try to open the doors for that to happen. And for those that are too sick to walk through the doors, we need to scout them to where they can get some counsel and some help. We have work to do, but it ain't gonna get done just by us, realizing that we got to take some action. And it's gonna have to we're gonna have to put some money in play. Somewhere we got to get the money. And we don't have an institution that's going to support us that way. We don't have corporations. We don't have foundations that will support us. So somewhere we got to find some capital so we can send these young black males to school to get these degrees in mechanics, plumbing, electrical, and stuff like this. When we do that, we're preparing them to use that skill to take care of your family. Speak out against the use of drugs and alcohol. Speak up for security. I would love to get the Deacons of Defense in San Antonio real quick. You see, because right now we got an attorney. I put it on the thread.
You're all over the place.
And that's right. But we put it on. It's about education. He had to leave the thread because he felt like he was being monitored and we could be monitored on the thread. So we closed the thread down a little bit, cooled it off. Okay, but he's the action that he's taken against the state education board is kind of threatening, he said. And some state and national entities are monitoring his communications. So then he said after September 1st, he'll be
about the black family, Chuck. Does that affect the black family?
Yeah, education affects the black family, yes.
Okay.
And he's a black attorney too that's doing it. He's out there protecting the community. And we need to learn more. Matter of fact, I got a Zoom meeting with him set up for Wednesday. Wednesday at 7 p.m. We got a Zoom meeting.
Go ahead and close, Chuck.
All right.
We've had this discussion today about why black families matter. My co-host came up with some very important points, and I want to kind of reiterate those points to you. We started out with 64% of single family homes in our community, and the average marriage family have 2.5 kids. We got to unify the black family. We're being destroyed. We got to set up a better quality of life versus the quality of the education we receive. We're in the burning house, and the burning house is something that we are not going to survive in. We got to get out of that burning house. Your color, the color of your skin and your money dictates what level of society you're going to fit in. Because if you got the color of your skin and no money, we already know where you're going to go. If you got a color of skin and big money, we know where you're going to go. That is something we have to really consider. Young black boys in our community, we got to prepare them to be the head of our households. And we want them not to look for a job, but to look for a career. We got to value our marriages because they are corrupt. And we got to look at why women have 3 or 4 baby daddies. But the men are at fault as well. Not only the women, the men are at fault. And what we're trying to do is build our Black families back together. It's so important for our structure and our success in this country. The institution of marriage is something that's going to take us to another level as a society. And I always say, once we decide that we got to understand our status, and you can never ever understand your status when you don't know who you are. You claim to be African American over here and Black over here. I'm just going to go those 2 directions. One of those is not correct. Both of those may not be correct. So if you don't know how to identify yourself, why would anybody give you any respect when you don't know what you are? You walking around with the melanation in your body, but you don't know why. You don't know what you are. Figure out who you are and where you come from, because your history as a Black family did not start after the Civil War. You had a Black family before the Civil War, before America was born. You had a family. What happened to that family? You just forgot about them? They don't exist anymore? That's your foundation that you forgot. And if we don't ever get a foundation, we ain't going nowhere. But this is the Black News Network, and I'm glad you were able to attend our meeting today. This is the real voice of Black USA, and we're broadcasting from the desk of the Emissary with 2 co-hosts, Mr. Claude Foster and Mr. Chuck Slaughter. We're here every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Again, don't forget to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and all the other social media sites. We really could use your support. All right, thank you again. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. This has been a wonderful day. I want to say thank you to the co-hosts and thank you to the people who watch the show. Have a nice day, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, BNN247. Restore the melanin to our children.
Yes, sir. All right. We out.